faithful. Nope, we're talking about the old games that still look amazing even today. And trust me, these visuals are gonna blow your mind. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start with Crysis 3, the game that basically made your PC's GPU cry for mercy back in 2013. And yes, let's not forget the memes, but Can It Run Crysis became the universal benchmark for gaming hardware for a reason. And it still holds true today, even though the hardware's come a long way. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Those dense jungles, still lush. Those futuristic cityscapes, still sharp. It's like you're stepping into a high-definition dream world that somehow doesn't look outdated. The lighting, the particle effects, the reflections, each detail is more gorgeous than the last. And it's a reminder of what top-tier visuals used to be. Let's switch gears to something a little more brooding. Batman Arkham Knight. This game released in 2015 and is still a visual masterpiece. Gotham City has never looked so detailed, from its rain-slicked streets to the towering skyscrapers. It's dark, gritty, and atmospheric, and it feels like the perfect Gotham game, one that could only exist in the mind of a comic book artist.
Chief had us heading back into the city, searching for civilians. He said we weren't leaving anyone behind.
The way the lighting works in this game is a huge highlight. When the Batmobile rumbles through the streets, it casts shadows across the dark alleys, and flickering neon signs contrast with the looming, rainy night sky. Plus, the combat looks stunning. It's brutal, smooth, and visually satisfying to string together combos. Even after all this time, Arkham Knight is a masterclass in atmospheric design, and it continues to stand tall against other superhero games. Next up, we've got Rise of the Tomb Raider. Let me just say this, the visuals in this game are top tier. Every snowflake, every droplet of water, every rock in the environment has this level of detail that makes it hard to believe this came out in 2015. Lara Croft's movements, facial animations, and expressions all seem so lifelike that I half expected her to ask me for a coffee break after a particularly intense sequence. The landscapes though, and those frozen mountaintops and lush forests, pure eye candy. The lighting in particular is a showstopper, especially during the dramatic moments when the sun's hitting the snow just right, and the world looks like it's been painted with a golden brush. Rise of the Tomb Raider makes everything feel like a cinematic experience, and the best part is, you get to control it. And who doesn't want to live that dream? Alright, now we're talking Titanfall 2. If you've played this game, you know that its visuals are an absolute treat. The first thing you'll notice is the fluidity of the gameplay. Everything moves with such precision. Each environment, whether it's futuristic cities or alien landscapes, looks so crisp and alive. Titanfall 2 nailed the balance between fast-paced action and beautiful environments. You can get lost in its detailed world, and then boom, a massive titan comes crashing down through the wall, and you're thrown back into the chaos. The effects during combat are explosive in all the right ways, and the animations are so clean, it almost feels like a Pixar movie, except with more explosions. And don't even get me started on the animation for the mechs. Each titan feels like it has its own personality, and the way they move through the battlefield is just awesome. The entire game feels like a high-octane movie scene, where you're the star. And that's a huge part of what makes it so visually satisfying. It's a game that holds up in every sense of the word.
See you down there, Rifleman.
Now, if you haven't heard of Okami, well, you might want to reconsider your life choices. Just kidding, but really, this game is one of those hidden gems that looks just as great today as it did when it first released in 2006. You're in control of Amaterasu, a wolf god, who has the ability to paint the world into existence, and trust me, when you paint, it feels like magic. The brush strokes, the vibrant colors, it's all so unique and visually captivating. I don't think there's another game that has this kind of visual identity. It's like a fusion of traditional Japanese art and modern game design, and that has somehow aged into something even more gorgeous. Seriously, if you want to take a trip to a beautifully crafted world that still blows people's minds today, look no further. Plus Amaterasu, it's just an adorable wolf. why wouldn't you want to play as a magical wolf? Let's talk about Wind Waker now. This one's a bit older, originally released in 2002, but its cel-shaded art style has never looked outdated. The cel shading technique gave the game a cartoonish feel, but in the best way possible, like you're playing a Saturday morning animated series, except with dungeons, pirates, and a magical boat. The colors are vibrant, the characters' expressions are delightful. This game wasn't just ahead of its time, it was timeless in its design. The sea adventures, the island hopping, the wave-filled moments, you can get lost in its charm for hours. Wind Waker is a great reminder that you don't need ultra-realism to make a game look amazing. Now let's talk about Alien Isolation, a game that'll make you appreciate the art of tension and detail. This 2014 survival horror is still one of the scariest experiences you can have in a game. Why? Because it looks terrifying. The game is set on the Sevastopol station, and the whole place is meticulously designed. The retro futuristic look, with clunky machinery and harsh lighting, makes you feel like you're in the 1970s vision of the future. And it works. The low lighting, the flickering monitors, the grime and rust on every surface, it's a visual feast for anyone who appreciates atmosphere over flashy explosions. The alien itself, of course, is a design marvel. The terrifying creature is brought to life in such a way that it's almost believable. Every time I see it, I forget I'm playing a game. I just get locked into that primal sense of fear. The lighting in this game is so well done. Shadows stretch across the station, and you're left wondering if you're safe or if the xenomorph's about to pounce. And even after all these years, it's still one of the best looking horror games.
See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman.
Alright, let's take it back to 2004 with Half-Life 2. Now this game might not be the graphical powerhouse of today, but the way Half-Life 2 blended physics and visuals back then was revolutionary. The game is still gorgeous in its own right, with expansive environments, atmospheric lighting, and gritty textures. The physics, of course, are the star of the show. The way objects interact with the environment is so satisfying. It still feels cutting edge. The character models might not look as detailed as today's games, but the design still gives them enough personality to keep you invested in their stories. And that's a credit to how Half-Life 2 was able to craft a believable environment, using the tech of its time. It doesn't need to be a hyper-realistic game to leave an impression. The game's combination of beautiful environments and innovative mechanics has made it a timeless classic in every sense of the word. Grand Theft Auto V is one that's still blowing people away with its visuals. Released back in 2013, it's a game that continues to evolve, thanks to updates and the power of the newer consoles. But even back on the PS3 and Xbox 360, GTA V was a sight to behold. The sprawling open-world environments of Los Santos were absolutely jaw-dropping. The sunlight reflecting off skyscrapers, the water shimmering in the bay, the sprawling city streets, and the rural countryside. Even the most mundane task, like driving down a random street, feels like you're in the middle of a movie scene. The character models too hold up incredibly well. Trevor, Michael, and Franklin all look so detailed, and their facial animations are incredible, allowing for some real emotional depth. The lighting in particular is next level. Whether it's the soft glow of the sunset or the harsh neon lights at night, the game creates the perfect mood for every scenario. And let's not forget the attention to detail. There's a reason this game is still used as a benchmark for open world design.
You suck. I mean, you really suck.
Alright, Final Fantasy 15. Let's talk about this one. It came out in 2016, and honestly, it's still jaw-droppingly beautiful. The vast open landscapes are nothing short of breathtaking, whether you're staring into a fiery sunset or cruising down the road in the regalia. And then there's the magic. I don't know how to describe it without sounding like I'm in an anime, but the spell effects are beautiful. The world also has these amazing weather effects, and watching a storm roll in while you're standing on top of a mountain is cinematic level cool. But the real kicker? The car. I spent way too much time just driving around because the world's so gorgeous. let's shift gears and talk about Bloodborne. Released in 2015, this game still holds up visually, thanks to its gothic, eerie atmosphere and haunting design. From the decrepit streets of Yharnam to the eerie, nightmarish landscapes of the Hunter's Dream, the game's world feels as alive as it is terrifying. The thing about Bloodborne is that the design wasn't about flashy, high-tech graphics. It was about atmosphere. The dark, gritty textures, the flickering lanterns, and the mist-filled environments created a sense of dread that's almost palpable. You could literally feel the tension in every corner you turn. The character design, particularly the grotesque creatures, are unsettlingly detailed in the best way possible. The way the lights play off the walls and the shadows stretch across the terrain is one of the most impressive features. Even the combat animations, every swing, every dodge, every visceral attack, looks fluid and brutal, almost like an art form. The game's use of color is minimal, but that works perfectly for the world it's creating. It's a masterclass in horror and design, and honestly, Bloodborne could stand tall in 2025 and beyond. What a visual treat this game is. It looks fresh today because of its beautiful, hand-drawn art style. The game is vibrant, whimsical, and filled with personality. The animations are smooth and incredibly detailed, with each character and environment looking like it came straight out of a high-quality animation studio. One of those games where every frame looks like a painting, with its colorful background and meticulously crafted levels. It has that timeless feel, like it could have come out in the 90s or yesterday, and still manages to wow players. The music levels are an especially great example, where everything, every jump, enemy, and action syncs perfectly with the music. It's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, but in the best way. It's lighthearted and fun, and the graphics only enhance the experience.
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This game is a legend in more ways than one. Released in 1997, it's one of those games that made 2D sprites look so good that it's hard to believe it came from the 90s. The character designs are iconic. The detailed sprites for Richter, Alucard, and all the creatures you encounter still have this incredible sense of detail and expression. There's a certain charm to the pixel art in this game that still holds up to modern standards. The backgrounds are lush and beautifully designed, with every room in Dracula's castle feeling distinct, from the eerie library in the dark, cursed halls. The game's moodiness and level design make it feel like a carefully crafted painting. And honestly, the sprite work in this game has aged like fine wine. It's the kind of game you can look at, even today, and still be blown away by how well it was designed. It's a perfect example of how pixel art can endure and never look outdated. If you've ever played Baldur's Gate 2, you know this game is a classic. Its hand-drawn, isometric environments are still some of the most beautiful sights you'll see in an RPG, and it's been impressing people since 2000. That's right, 2000! The art in this game is timeless, still looking as beautiful as it did in the early 2000s. Sure, it's not the cutting-edge realism that we see in modern games, but there's something so special about the intricate detail in the environments, characters, and even the interface. Every map feels like it was painstakingly designed, and the atmosphere is always on point. The game's classic 2D art is brimming with personality. Every NPC looks like they could have their own story, and every building feels lived in. The lighting is subtle but powerful. Dungeon walls have a gritty texture, and the interior feels warm or cold, depending on the setting. I'm not saying it's better than modern games, but it certainly holds its own. Plus, the fact that Baldur's Gate 2 is still celebrated as one of the best RPGs of all time means that it clearly did something right in terms of visual design. Last but certainly not least is Pokemon Emerald version. Released in 2004, this game's graphics were revolutionary at the time. Even now, it has a special charm. The sprites are incredibly well designed, and the environments, though simple, have a lot of personality. The vibrant colors, the lush landscapes of Hoenn, and the pixelated details of each Pokemon make this game a visual nostalgia trip. Sure, it's no Pokemon Sword and Shield, but there's something about its art style that holds up remarkably well. The 2D character sprites during battles were charming, and the backgrounds were vibrant, helping bring the world to life. Even now, the Hoenn region still feels like a lively, colorful place to explore, full of interesting nooks and crannies. The simplistic yet expressive design style continues to charm players who revisit it today, making it clear that sometimes less really is more. Hope you guys enjoyed this trip through the past. Let me know in the comments which game is still blowing you away graphically, or if there's an old classic you think deserves a spot on this list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more awesome content. Catch you in the next one.